Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're completely exhausted, just drowning in endless meetings and that never-ending barrage of emails, trust me, you are not alone. It's a massive problem. But today, we're exploring a fascinating, highly actionable roadmap out of those trenches. We're breaking down Kade's 30 days exit plan. And to be clear, this isn't just about endlessly shuffling your schedule around. It's a concrete step-by-step strategy to permanently escape busy work.
Here is the core philosophy behind this entire plan, and it is honestly brilliant. Every day, you do one small thing that outlives the day. Think about that for a second. We aren't just managing time anymore, because that's the old, exhausting way of doing things, right? Instead, we're committing to doing small things today that permanently fix tomorrow's problems. It's an absolute game changer in how you view your workday.
Okay, let's dive into the structure. Over the next month, we'll use 4 distinct phases as a ladder to climb out of the busy work. Week 1, stop the bleeding. Week 2, build small assets. Week 3, eliminate and automate. And finally, week 4, leverage and momentum. Now, to escape this busy work effectively, you need to understand one absolutely vital concept: the asset. Basically, an asset is a tool built in just 15 to 30 minutes, like an email filter, maybe a template, or a hard and fast rule that works tirelessly in the background to permanently free up your time. What we're doing here is reframing mundane, annoying tasks into micro-assets. So the crucial takeaway is this: this entire plan isn't about you working harder, no way. It is entirely about creating smart little systems that do the heavy lifting for you.
15 to 30. That is your daily time budget. This entire plan only takes 15 to 30 minutes a day, period. Not a minute more. Because if it takes more than 30 minutes, you are doing too much and overcomplicating things. This constraint is beautiful because it literally forces you to keep things simple, fast, and actionable.
All right, let's get into the first phase. Week 1, stop the bleeding. Your immediate goal here is definitely not to build some massive, complex system right out of the gate. The goal is simply to cut your biggest time wasters so you can actually create the necessary space to start building. So, how do we stop the bleeding? Well, here are the first 3 days. On day 1, you set up an email filter for the 3 most useless, repetitive emails you get. Auto-label, archive, delete, boom, you'll never see them again. Day 2, you just add a calendar or FAQ link straight to your email signature. And on day 3, you create a firm meeting rule. Something like no agenda, no attendance, and you actually send it to your team. It's amazing how setting up these specific, quick-win assets immediately gives you breathing room and, frankly, the permission to just say no.
And this brilliantly illustrates the power of day 5, where you build your first template. Think about the stark difference here. The old way? Typing the exact same email from scratch every single time, burning, 10 minutes of your life. The new way is using a bracketed template for the parts that change, taking maybe 30 seconds. Drafting just one single template for a recurring email radically shifts your time investment.
0. I really want to emphasize this number because on days 7, 14, and 21 of this plan, your time investment is exactly 0 minutes. You rest. You don't build. You don't try to catch up on emails. You take a step back and let the assets you've already created do the work for you in the background. Recovery is built directly into the system. Moving right along to week 2. Build small assets. Now that you're refreshed from day 7, the goal shifts from merely defending your time to actively creating tools. And a quick reminder, ugly is completely fine. The polish doesn't matter as long as the asset actually exists. Week 2 gets highly tactical. On day 8, you write a quick FAQ for 3 common questions you always get asked. Day 9 is a simple checklist for a weekly process. Then you clean up your folder structure into projects, reference, and archive. By day 12, you're writing out a standing declination, literally just one sentence you'll use to politely say no to random requests. And day 13, you block a recurring hour on your calendar just for building assets. The whole genius here is that an empty desktop or a written checklist means a lighter brain. You no longer have to remember every little thing, you just follow the system.
Take the day 10 auto-reply as a perfect example of this. It could be as simple as, I'm working on a project and checking email twice a day. I'll reply within 24 hours. This is a fantastic small asset that sets clear boundaries. When you set this up, people know exactly what to expect, and more importantly, you don't have to feel guilty for not answering an email 3 seconds after it hits your inbox.
Okay, here's where things get really interesting. Week 3, eliminate, delegate, automate.
By the time we hit week 3, you're going to experience a major turning point. The narrative really peaks here because the goal isn't just doing your work faster anymore. The goal is removing the work entirely. We're going to be a little ruthless this week. Day 15, you skip a task. Day 16, delegate something to a colleague who wants to learn it. Day 17, automate one manual step with a keyboard shortcut. Day 18, unsubscribe from 10 newsletters. Day 19, create a bank of answers for the top 5 questions you get. Honestly, hitting that unsubscribe button 10 times on day 18, it is incredibly satisfying. It makes your inbox lighter forever, right now, with immediate results.
Let's zoom in on day 15 for a second because it's particularly fascinating. The elimination test. You skip one task you do every single week, you do not replace it, you just see what happens. And the absolute best part? Nothing happens. The sky doesn't fall. It's incredibly freeing to prove to yourself that once you just skip a supposed mandatory task and nothing breaks, well, you know it never needed to exist in the first place.
Let's move to week 4 and see how this all builds up. Week 4, leverage and momentum. Now that you've defended your time and eliminated waste, your focus shifts to making assets that actually work for others, multiplying your overall impact. In week 4, you are scaling yourself. Day 22, you write a one-page how-to guide. Day 24, you trade a task you hate doing with a coworker who doesn't mind it. Day 25, you create a written decision protocol. Day 26 is batching recurring tasks to a single day. And day 27 is sending a polite no email to a chronic time waster. Writing just one guide or establishing one written decision on day 25, like if X happens, we do Y, means nobody ever has to bother you to ask that question again. The decision is already made and documented. And that brings us to what might just be the most profound moment of the entire month on day 23. You put all your templates, your checklists, and your guides into one single folder on your computer named Assets. Imagine the feeling of opening that folder and finally seeing all these micro assets you've meticulously built, all gathered in one place. You look at it and you realize, wow, that folder right there, that is literally your freedom.
So looking back at this incredible 30-day transformation, week 1, you cut the biggest time wasters. Week 2, you built small daily assets. Week 3, you removed work entirely. And week 4, you multiplied your impact. You didn't just survive the month, you generated real energy and momentum. You essentially took 30 heavy rocks straight out of your backpack. Here's the secret though. The plan doesn't actually end on day 30. You just pick one new asset to build over the next 30 days. You put it on your calendar, and the system simply repeats. Week 1 starts again. You build new filters, new templates, new assets. The system scales right along with you to the next level of your career. But, obviously, to get to day 30, you actually have to start. The exit plan simply doesn't work if you just say, oh, I'll do it when I have time. Start tomorrow, day 1, the email filter. You can head right over to strataatlas.com/exitplan to practice and access all the source material we've covered today. And that wraps up our explainer for today. You now have the exact roadmap to get the space and the momentum back in your workday, which leaves you with a pretty major choice. Are you going to go back to busy, or are you going to keep building?